Go.
Hey everybody, so we're out for a spring ephemeral walk here on my property, and I'm pretty sure you can find an area similar to this and be able to do a little bit of work for your assignment here. When I grew up, spring ephemerals were really a big deal because they were signs of hope, of better weather to come, and they allowed us to relate closely with the natural world. So my mom would be like, the Joshua flower's up, come look, the Joshua flower's up, or the wild ginger's up, or what have you. And this is what my mom called Joshua flower, and it's actually hepatica. I didn't know that it was not hepatica for a long time, but keep in mind I was born in late March, so when I was a baby, hepatica was really just one of the first things to bloom, flowers to bloom, so my mom always called it hepatica when we grew up. So what ephemeral means, it means short-lived. And although these species are short-lived, they complete their life cycle very fast, they really make up for that with a really beautiful display of colors. And although they're usually pretty small, they cover large areas, and for an introspective person, they can offer a lot of connection and beauty. Hepatica oftentimes is purple, sometimes it's pink. In this case, it's white, just due to different subspecies and genetic adaptations. They can be different colors. Growing up, I had this idea, everybody told me, that most of these species were extinct and you could never pick them. And the reality is there's something to that. No, most of them actually aren't extinct, some are. But at one time, they were really threatened. And they were threatened because, as you are well aware, the first wave of industrial agriculture here in Vermont was actually sheep farming. And sheep could be pastured in really steep areas. And see where we are, Leif's filming this right now. It's very steep, so sheep could have been pastured here. Although this is even too steep for sheep. And also, sheep will eat just about anything. Like sheep and goats will eat about anything. So a lot of these really were brought back from extirpation. Like they were almost extinct and they were brought back. So where we find them in abundance today are really steep slopes where sheep never really got to, or areas where the canopy, the trees are still really intact, and they give us glimpses as to what the old, first pre-frontier forest actually looked like. And luckily they have expanded over large pieces of ground where they once had been extinct from. So keep in mind, it's not a good idea to pick a lot of these, but picking a few of them really is not going to hurt. So we're in a really small area, but I can find a whole bunch of different spring ephemerals. So this is a hepatica. We're going to walk right up here, and I'm going to show you another one. There's actually two right here. Unfortunately, this is garlic mustard here, which is an invasive. So I'm going to actually pull that right out. It's not good. One of the threats to spring ephemerals is invasive species. This is squirrel corn, which looks very much like Dutchman's britches. Dutchman's britches, if you flip it over, looks like britches, where this looks like a corn seed. Right next to it, with this heart-shaped leaf, and wait a minute, because I just saw it. Oh, and this strange-looking purple flower. This is wild ginger. So again, these were all almost brought to extinction by overgrazing of sheep. And today, they love enriched soils. So you oftentimes find them on these steep hillsides because all of the nutrients is drifting down this area and being deposited here, giving good soil for these ephemerals to grow. But from there, it's also because these steeper areas were never really touched by extensive logging or extensive overgrazing. So let's go walk over to another one. Right up here. Here we have purple trillium, or stinking Benjamin. And it's called stinking Benjamin because the smell of them actually resembles a little bit of rotten meat. So take a look at this. What the ephemerals do, this is their adaptation. complete their life cycle very quick, in a matter of like 3 weeks. They do that because they can capture and photosynthesize through the treetops, which don't have their leaves out yet. When they have their leaves out, these plants can't get the energy they need. So they bloom very early in the spring, so the seeds actually have tons of sugars in them because they don't freeze. They then pollinate using non-traditional pollinators, like all the honeybees and hummingbirds and all these other types of pollinators haven't actually really come out of hibernation yet. So they're relying on things like flies, gnats, and ants. This symbiotic relationship where the ant will come and actually propagate the seeds, thus pollinating the flowers, and it's eating those seeds because the sugars allow them to jumpstart their summer. So again, the life cycle is very short. They take advantage of the open canopy because the leaves aren't yet to complete their life cycle in about 4 days. Their flowers, although beautiful, attract things like ants and flies, not your conventional pollinators who eat the seeds, then spread the seeds about the forest by dropping a few, and they eat the seeds because it's loaded with the sugars that those insects really need when it's still pretty cold. So let's go to another one. Head over this way. This one's called bloodroot. Right here, a beautiful flower, and I'm just going to pick this one and show you why it's called bloodroot. If you pull this out, there's actually a pigment in this root that as I break and kind of squeeze, there's a red. And if you notice, that red can actually be put right on the face for makeup or what have you. And native peoples actually did use this for different dyes. So again, there's your bloodroot. Check out the pigment that it leaves. And I'll show you one more. Actually, I see a lot more, but I'll show you one more. Down here. It's kind of a cloudy day, so a lot of the flowers are still closed. But this is dogtooth violet or trout lily. Notice this looks like the vermiculation on a trout's back. It's got this yellow droopy flower. This one's actually an edible. But what it does, amongst other things, is when this thing starts blooming, you know the trout are starting to bite, which is amongst with the coloration why we know that trout fishing has commenced. So let's just really review this real fast. Spring ephemerals bloom in very early spring. Their seeds have lots of sugars in them which allows them to not freeze. They take advantage, they store those sugars insanely by converting the sunlight through chlorophyll into this sugar-packed plant, which is dormant for most of the season. It grows and blooms for only about 2 to 3 weeks out of the year, taking advantage of that open canopy. They contribute largely to biodiversity. They grow on steep hillsides of enriched soil sites, but they really will grow everywhere. It's just those are the areas where they've been able to recover fastest because there hasn't been overgrazing or logging. Overgrazing, logging, development, invasive species all have contributed to a lack of diversity of these plants. They are diverse. There's lots of them. I'm asking you to go find some. I've introduced to you about 4 of them, 5 of them. I've seen a lot more. You're going to go find more. The symbiotic relationship that they carry between pollinators is quite fascinating in that the seeds, their blossoms, are attractive to things like flies and ants who need those sugars for the early part of the year before there's other things available, and they then propagate the seeds across the forest floor. So today I showed you hepatica, bloodroot, wild ginger, squirrel corn, and trillium. But I also saw blue cohosh, false Solomon seal. I saw marsh marigold. Lots of them out there. Gosh, I hope you go out and have fun and enjoy this as much as I do. Okay, guys, take care. Bye.